friends! My name is Maylin and welcome back to my channel. I'm a flutist, performer, and music teacher located in the city of Kamloops, British Columbia, and this is my channel where we do all things flute, so thank you so much for joining me here today. In today's video, we're going to be learning how to play high G sharp or A flat and high A, so if you're interested, then just keep on watching. As always, if you have any questions throughout the video, please feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. I do my best to answer them as soon as I see them. Also, if you have any issues when it comes to practicing, please feel free to check out my free practice guide, also located in the description down below. It gives you 8 really easy steps to follow to help guide your practice sessions. Alright, so let's just get right into today's video. So of course, we're going to be reading from my favorite book here, the Trevor Roy's Beginner's Book for the Flute, Part 2. And we're going to be reviewing page 86 and 87. So of course, we're going to introduce the fingering first for the high G sharp or A flat and high A. So I'm just going to put it up right over here. So these ones, again, we're getting into the really, really high register. So if it does take you a little while to get from the last video to this one, that is totally okay. These are definitely the higher notes that can be a little bit difficult to get if you don't have a ton of experience, and that is totally okay. So to review the fingering here, so the high G sharp or A flat, if you finger the lower one there, so the lower G sharp, all you're going to be doing is lifting your first finger and also lifting your thumb in the back here. And then you're going to be keeping on your pinky, and that's it. So again, to review, the fingers that you are going to have down are going to be on your left hand, the middle one down here, your fourth finger, and then the pinky. So that's the A flat key, and then also your pinky on the right. So this is what it should sound like. So that's the high G sharp or A flat. For the fingering for the high A, you're going to be putting down your middle finger of the left hand and the thumb. And then for your right hand, you're going to be putting down finger 1 here and then your pinky. And this is what the high A should sound like. Very good. So as I recommend for all of these high notes, of course you're going to want to make sure that we go over back to episode 49 where I explain all the different things that you want to focus on. So particularly your embouchure, your air speed, and then your fingers last. So definitely making sure that you have a nice forward embouchure here with a smaller embouchure hole to help really focus that air. And then of course you're going to make sure you have a nice ha and support with all the air that you're going to have in order to get that higher octave. Alright, so we're going to go over the warm-up exercise here. So I'm just going to put up number 1. This one again, I'm not going to clap and count or anything. Make sure that if you are feeling uncomfortable with the letter line notes here, that you write in all of the letter names here. As again, the more that you read up in the higher register, the more it'll just come easily to you. This is how I would play it as a warm-up. So again, I'm going to take it nice and slow. What I would recommend, of course, is that you repeat this as it is written here, but just for demonstration purposes, I'll just be doing it one time. And of course, again, when you are playing anything with the high register, you always want to put on a tuner app. So even I'm going to do this here as well today. It's always a great exercise. So on my phone, I'm using an app called Tunable. So I know I paid for this a few years back, but it's a really great service and it really helps to visualize how the notes look. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3. Alright, so again here it is, you can tell that it is a very tricky exercise. So again, taking it really nice and slow, you're going to make sure you're going to have a lot of air support there so that you get it right where you want it to, and making sure you're using that tuner app, especially when you're playing in the high register, to help train your ear where the pitch is. Okay, and we're going to do one extra one here, and that's going to be exercise number 2. So I'm going to put it up right over here. We're going to go over it really quickly. Again, make sure this one we are playing a F sharp, and then the A natural, no G sharp here. So 1, 2, 1, and 2. Very nice. And then just for kicks, let's do exercise number 3 as well. So I'm just going to plop that one right up over here. And this one, again, we are playing A flat or the G sharp again. So you'll make sure that you're reading that there. 1, 2, 1, and 2. Alright, right, very good. So again, making sure that you're going through all those really nicely, really making sure that you're having that really great air support and that you have a very tense-free embouchure. So again, bringing your lips forward as much as possible. You're going to try not to bring them back in a smile or anything to get the tension there. That's not going to help getting a really nice tone in that high register. So again, bringing everything forward, giving yourself a little bit of space in the mouth to get that air spinning through the instrument at the right speed. Alright, so now we're going to go on to the scale exercise in A major, so I'm just going to pop that one right over here. So this one we'll just briefly go through some of the starter bits. So we are in, of course, A major, so 3 sharps, F sharp, C sharp, G sharp. We're in 4/4 time, so 4/4 notes per measure. We are going to be playing again at a tempo where it's not too fast and not too slow. So, but of course, when you are practicing this for technique, you're going to obviously want to start at a tempo where you're not making any mistakes and then going to a faster tempo where you're able to really work on the fingering technique up in the high register. Articulation wise, we do have some slurs here and there, so just make note when we're playing slurs over 4/8 notes or when they're paired. So in the 3rd bar there, make sure that you're playing 2 slurred, 2 tongued, and then as well in bar 5 and 6. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, when you're reading through any of these high notes, if you're uncomfortable with any of them, feel free to jot them down the letter name so that you know when you get to that is a letter name, you're not kind of feeling uncertain about it. And again, the more you read it, the more you'll find that you get comfortable with it. I'm not going to clap this one because it is just 8th notes, but of course, if you want to clap and count this one for yourself, please make sure you go right on ahead and do that. I'm going to be playing this one at a quarter note equals 90. 1, 2, 3, and... All right, very nice. So with this one, you're definitely going to probably have a lot of difficulties with the slur there, anything with underneath the slurs with lots of jumps. So I'm looking particularly at bar number 4 there. So that A to the E to the C sharp and back to the E can be really tricky if you're not practicing a lot with the enharmonics. What you're going to be focusing on there is going to be the air speed, especially between that A and that E. You might find that when you're trying to play a slur between the high A and that E, that the lower E is going to crack a few times just because you're not getting the right air speed. So for example, let's see if I can play it. So you might get something like that where you don't quite get the correct E there. And so it's just a matter of, again, practicing with your low harmonics. So you can, again, fingering that low C to get the E partial and then the low D to get that A partial. It's going to really help you to find where you can place it so that you can go back and forth between the A and the E without any issue. Alright, so that is definitely something I would find a little bit tricky at the beginning of playing this. Otherwise, I think just working through this really nice and really slow, and then if you're finding that you're having issues, really focusing on little sections at a time, so working between 1 or 2 notes and then slowly expanding from there, going out and adding a note before or adding a note after is going to really help you to get used to playing up in that high register. Okay, so now we're going to go on to the duet for today, and this is called Rigadoon. So I'm going to put it up on the screen right over here. So this one will go through all the starter bits. Again, I think this one we're going to be skipping out on the clapping count just because it is fairly straightforward, but of course we'll be playing it on the flute at the final tempo here. Number 1, we're going to be looking at our key signature. So we don't have anything written here, so that means it can either be in C major or A minor. So let's take a look at the first note and the last note to see if you have any indication of the tonic of either of those keys. So we don't start on a C in either flute 1 or flute 2. We do start on notes that are in that C major triad there. So we do have the E in the second part and the high G in the first part. But if we do go right to the end of the piece, we notice that both parts do end on a C. So highly indicates that we're in C major. It's always good to check to see if you can find the relative minor key. So again, finding the relative minor key, and you go down 3 letter names. So C, B, A would be the relative minor, so A minor. We'll see if you can find any indication of that by looking for the raised 6 or 7. So that's going to be G sharp or F sharp. And at a quick glance, I don't see any accidentals here, so I would say we're in C major. Number 2 is our time signature, so we're in common time here, 4/4. Just make sure that you do notice that we are starting on a pickup bar, so we're going to start on beat 4, and then the rest of that bar is going to be right at the end there, so we're holding that dotted quarter for 3 beats. 3 is our tempo indication, so here we have allegretto, so again a quarter note is going to equal 132. Number 4 is our articulation, so we do have a lot of articulation here that you want to take note of. So again, when we mostly are playing those quarter notes, they're going to be staccato. So again, staccato is going to be short or detached. You don't want to spit them out. You definitely want to give it a little bit of a hut instead, just to shorten, and then you're just going to put space between each of those notes. And then we do also have some slurs as well, so making sure that you take note of where those slurs are. Generally, they're going to be over 8th notes. I'm not sure if we see, oh, we do have a change there. I'm looking at the 3rd line last bar, where we do have a slur in the first part over the dotted quarter B to the 8th C. So just make sure that you're taking note of where we have those articulations. Number 5 is our dynamic, so we're going to start at a forte. We play forte all the way up until the 4th full bar there, where we come down to a decrescendo, and then we start again forte. So we don't have anything again written until the 2nd line 3rd bar, where we then come down to a mezzo forte. So this is where we're not playing up in the high register again, so we want to make sure we do have some contrast there. And then you don't have anything written until the 3rd line 2nd bar, where we have a slow, big crescendo up until the 1st bar of the last line there, where we again end on a forte. We don't have anything written there, so we're going to be nice and loud throughout this piece. Again, this is going to really help to reinforce playing up in that high register and getting your ear used to playing up with those higher notes. Just make note that at the end there we do have a nice trill. So how you play that trill is you're going to be fingering that D, and you're going to be using your 4th finger here just up and down to trill that. So then this one can be, again, very tricky if you have a weak 4th finger, which mine is a little bit right now. Right, that's how you're going to play that trill there, that low D, and then make sure that you are playing a rallentando there, so you're going to slow down gradually to the end. And then number 6 is going to be our roadmap, so we're going to look to see if we have any repeats or da capos, and I don't see any, so we're just going to be reading from the top to the bottom. Okay, so again, I'm going to be doing this at the final tempo, so when you are practicing it, or practicing with me, definitely go back into the playback settings and slow it down to a tempo where you're not making any mistakes, and that'll definitely help you to learn the piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that should definitely be a really good challenge for you. A few notes here, make sure that you do notice that there is 2 grace notes there in the, so I'm looking at the 3rd line, last bar there, so B to this, so you're just going to do a quick little turn, B to the C, back to the B. And then otherwise, I think it's just going to be making sure that you do get the style of it. Make sure that you do note that in the 4th line there, we do have an interesting change of style where we actually have those 2 noodle lines over the quarter notes. So making sure that they are played for their full length rather than shortening them like we were earlier with the staccatos to really give a different change of character there. Okay, and now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do it with part 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So this one has its own challenges. So it actually goes from, again, you are playing in that high register, not all the way up there to the high G or anything like that. But we're definitely playing a lot in the high register and then going all the way down to the low register. So I think it's going to be really great to also learn the second part in this one so that you are able to kind of go back and forth between playing in that high register and then going down to the middle and then your low register as well. I really, really like that there. And of course, at the end of this video, we will include a complete part with both of the duets there, so you can have a kind of a reference there, or if you want to play along, of course, you can do that as well. Alright, so this is going to be it for today's video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section down below. I do my best to answer them as soon as I see them. And also check out my free practice guide if you are having any issues when it comes to practicing. I just want to say thank you so much for joining me here today. I know it's been a little bit inconsistent here, but I really appreciate you continuing to watch. And I'm super excited. We're almost at the end of this series, so stick around for the last 2 videos. Number 55 is going to be the grand finale of this series, so I'm really excited. We're almost there. And of course, you are amazing, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. And as always, happy fluting!